Hey gang, it's JC, and this is the Daily Dose for Monday, October 31st, 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. We will get to the big story of the day here in just a couple of seconds, but first a reminder that we have great television archives up at the top of the page. Also, frequently asked questions. Where do you get the camera? Where do you get the cheese? That sort of stuff. And then also we have JC's Eye Candy right below. We'll get to the rock and roll poll question in just a couple of minutes, but the big story of the day, you already knew. If you were listening to me over the course of the last month on the big 550 KTRS, because we told you almost a month ago that Tony La Russa was retiring, and all of the experts and all the insiders and all the people who would like to have you believe that they have some sort of special pipeline to all the important information coming out of the sports community here in St. Louis. Not only did those people dismiss my story, they, in some cases, rolled their eyes back in their head. They laughed at me. They just tried to poke it full of holes. I've been here 27 and a half years, and I keep trying to get this point across. I'm getting tired of even hearing my own voice say it. But if I go on the air with something, particularly something that seems to be a little bit, like, whoa, where's this coming from? There's a pretty good chance that I know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of people who just are talking out of their asses these days. And I have tried to explain to you that over the course of almost the last 30 years here, if I tell you something, I'm pretty sure that I have it right. Now, I'm not saying I don't make mistakes. That's not the point. But I'm talking about something like this. I knew that this story was right. You want to hear it again? Because the post-press conference analysis on radio and on TV is a freaking joke. People are just making idiots of themselves. You should have signs, neon signs going, I'm an idiot, I'm an idiot, I'm an idiot. Because you don't even know what you're talking about. Oh, it just came as such a surprise. Well, I've been doing the story on the air. Sometimes I talk into a microphone and I feel like it's going into some freaking black hole of some sort. So anyhow, let me tell you the story again. The weekend of September 24th and 25th, Cardinals were playing the Cubs. And there was a person in the Cardinal organization who was given the responsibility of preparing a special media room for a post-game news conference on Saturday, September 24th to announce the retirement of Tony La Russa. Then it was prepared again on Sunday the 25th, but a couple of things happened. You see, that was the last homestand, not the last homestand, that was the last 3 Cardinal home games of the season, and they were going off to Houston. And it appeared as though the Cardinals were not going to make it into the playoffs, and Tony just figured, well, I'm here, let's do the press conference, get it over with, I'll go to Houston, it'll be over and done with, that's that. A couple of things happened. Cardinals had a dramatic come-from-behind victory, and of course Atlanta started fading, and then Tony had to think to himself, well, now wait a minute, let's come back Sunday and see what happens. Same thing happens. So then it became apparent that the Cardinals really did have a chance to get into postseason play, and because of that, this whole thing got delayed until the morning after the parade. Again, I told you this story almost a month ago, and it was roundly dismissed by everybody who came in contact with it. People laughed at me. It was right. Going to be a ripple effect now. Let's give you some more information, by the way. I believe that Dave Duncan, who has a year left on his contract, will return next year. Jose Oquendo, a lot of people wondering if he's going to get the managerial job. Don't know. My gut is that it won't be Jose Oquendo. What happens to Mark McGwire, who was Tony's boy? Big question. Now, the Cardinals hit. They put up tremendous offensive statistics. So maybe the next guy that comes in might look at that and say, I want him. But more often than not, you know how it works. When somebody new comes in to run something, they want their own people. But I'm going to tell you something else. Don't be surprised if before opening day next year, or let me say before spring training next year, next up in terms of retirement, Mike Shannon. Okay? 2017, Cooperstown. That's when you'll see Tony La Russa again. He said something today I think was, by the way, I thought that his comments on stage yesterday at Busch Stadium after the parade about Jake Westbrook were just absolutely fantastic. That was a wonderful moment yesterday, and if you are following the situation, you already know what I'm talking about. But, Tony said something today that I think is really, sort of smart, and it was the, I'm not going to go into that. Let me just put it this way. They asked him, you're going to be hanging around, you're going to be coming back, or what are you going to see in St. Louis? He said, probably not. And he's right. It probably shouldn't be a situation where he's hanging around. to see Tony in 2017 in Cooperstown. By the way, I didn't go to the parade yesterday. There are a lot of people running along the side of the parade route, and I did that in 2006. And that was at the beginning of the parade where there weren't many fans hanging around. And I'm really glad I made the decision not to go yesterday, because I would have been running around with a microphone. And there's people who got there, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning along the parade route to make sure they got a good spot to see everything that was going on. And it would have been terrible for people not to have that moment of eye contact with these players that they idolize. And if you're talking to somebody, they're looking at you and the parade's going by, and all these people who are lining the parade route, they don't get to have that moment of eye contact with somebody that they idolize. It was a little desperate yesterday watching some of these reporters run around trying to talk to these people. By the way, going back to Tony La Russa, he's supposed to be on David Letterman tonight. I'm going to gamble and say that isn't going to happen, but you never know. Also, David Freese is going to be on Leno tonight, which is always embarrassing, because if there's one person on this planet who knows absolutely nothing about sports, it's Jay Leno. And he tries to interview people about sports. It's really sort of awkward and pointless. But we'll see how David Freese does his due there. And again, I don't know what's going to happen with regard to Tony on Letterman. I put 56 photographs on my Facebook page. Now, this is not the Showgram Facebook page. This is mine. So I have to ask you a favor. Well, I overloaded, went over 5,000 on the J.C. Corcoran page on Facebook, so we had to shift everybody to the new site, the Showgram. We're asking everybody to go refriend me and the show over on the Showgram. So, but I have the pictures right now, all 56 pictures, and it sort of tells the story in chronological order of the Cardinals' 2011 championship season. And that is on my J.C. Corcoran page on Facebook. But please don't friend me there. Just look at the pictures and then go over to the Showgram and please friend me there. It was an interesting attempt to extricate myself from the celebration on Friday night, because I was on the top floor of the parking garage I was in, and a truck full of 5 drunken Hoosiers from Illinois crashed into my car. Not once. They hit me, and then they backed up, and then they plowed into me again. So I had an interesting night. I think it was another reason why I didn't head downtown for the big parade yesterday, because it was just sort of like, I don't want to go into that again. I got to go get my whole side quarter panel replaced. Yeah, boy. By the way, I think Albert is staying. So let's get that out of the way right now. I think Albert is staying because I had a chance encounter with Didi Pujols during the celebration on the field on Friday night. And we talked about a couple of different things. And at the very end, I said, well, enjoy all this, because I was born and raised in Chicago and we don't have stuff like this. And she said, oh, by the way, you know how how a Cubs player makes it to the World Series? I said, no. She goes, he gets traded. I think that Chicago was probably the most likely place Albert would have gone if he was going to leave St. Louis. If Didi is telling Cubs jokes, he's not going to the Cubs. And then you got Anaheim pretty much. And I'm just thinking Albert is staying. So it's another prediction, I guess you would say. To my lovely bride, who I enjoyed a evening with on Saturday night on our 4th anniversary, we went to a seafood place where a new seafood place had opened right next door. We were sort of looking, going to a seafood place next to a seafood place. And that seafood place next door, not the one we went to, but the one next door, was having its second test run. You know how restaurants sort of have a dry run? And by the way, if you've ever had the dry runs, you know how painful that can be. But they were having a dry run for the restaurant, and the place caught on fire, and the fire department was there. So the first time they actually tried to cook something, they almost burned the place down. Oh. JC's Rock and Roll poll question from Friday. When baseball season ends, what sport or team gets most of your attention? The Blues, #1 answer at 34%, followed by the Rams at 24%, and the #3 answer, I love it, 17%. I wait for pitchers and catchers to report to Jupiter on February, mid to late February. 17% on that answer. By the way, the Cardinals' big win on Friday night, the most watched World Series game in 7 years. 25.4 million viewers tuned in. Overall, this year's World Series averaged 16.6 million viewers. That's up 19% from last year's average of 14.5 million. So nobody's got any complaints about what we saw here in St. Louis and in Texas. It was a damn good time. All right, we're running out of time because this whole Tony La Russa story finally got picked up and announced, and that's going to be the story of the day, obviously. And again, a reminder, you heard it with me first, and you heard it with me first almost a month ago. I've long gotten over the idea of ever trying to get credit for anything. Nobody's ever going to give me credit for anything in this town. But when something like this happens, I am freaking taking credit for it myself. I'm taking a bow. Thank you very much. All right, you might recall a song we played a few times during the World Series called Can't Be Done. The guys, pretty enterprising group of young men who have this rap song, and during the complete chaos of the celebration outside the ballpark Friday night, they recorded a music video to go with the song, and it's our eye candy feature today, and it's actually pretty darn clever. So congratulations. You might want to keep your eyes on these guys called 12 to 6 movement, which of course is a reference to the Adam Wainwright and Chris Carpenter curveballs. So there you go. That's JC's Eye Candy. And that is it. The Daily Dose for Monday, October 31st, 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. I am taking a couple of days off. We will talk to you next Tuesday, November 8th, here and on the Big 550, KTRS. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.